Today I wanted to sit down and get really casual with you guys. Just have like a completely open, super off-the-cuff conversation. My conversations are usually pretty off-the-cuff. My discussion pieces over the last 3 months, none of them have been scripted. I stopped scripting stuff like after the holiday season. I think the last thing I scripted was my Prey video talking about mimics. I realized that I absolutely loathe writing scripts, and if anything, they actually stifle my creativity in terms of conversation flow. I'm way better at creating conversation when I just look at the screen with maybe a couple notes to remember the key points I want to touch on, if that even, and just talking to the mic like I'm talking to a best friend. Like when I can get into that mindset, the flow is unreal. It's like just straight up Slim Shady in that conversation. It's just so good. Words just come to me. The vocabulary is just there. When I write a script, I'm like, fuck. And I just feel like I waste so much time trying to write a script when I could just make the video. I could just talk and then edit the content in. So yeah, today we're just really off the cuff. I wanted to hit on a few questions that you guys are always asking me in regard to Titanfall, the future of Titanfall, Respawn as a studio, and I guess we should just get the title question out of this way, which is Titanfall 3 at Gamescom. There's more context to that question because it originally was Titanfall 3 at E3, right? Like, everybody just wants Titanfall 3. They want news of Titanfall 3. I totally get that, right? We're all just kind of like hanging on the edge of the cliff, just like, you gotta tell me. If you don't tell me, I'm gonna let go. I will literally let go and fall to my demise. There's crocodiles in that river, so if the fall doesn't kill me, I'll probably be eaten alive, slowly and painfully, by snapping jaws. You gonna tell me? Respawn, you gonna tell me? Or that's how it's kind of been. That's also how it's kind of been with any sort of Titanfall content I make. There's at least 10 questions in every single video that are like, so when do you think Titanfall 3 is going to get announced? Didn't happen at E3, is it going to happen at Gamescom? Well, Gamescom is happening right now, and I honestly don't think we're going to see Titanfall 3 announcement there. While it's possible, and I'm not going to act like I know, I just don't think so. I feel like if they do a Titanfall 3 announcement, it'll be a standalone thing. And that's literally as far as my speculation can go. Now, we could talk about the fact that they've been playtesting something. We have no idea what, considering there are multiple projects being worked on at Respawn right now. A lot of people pointed out that Shroud was at a playtesting event the same time frame that Respawn was doing playtesting. It seemed like it was multiplayer. They had people there. If Shroud's there, if that really is the case, if he was actually there at Respawn, we don't know. Nothing's been confirmed. There's a chance he was there to test multiplayer stuff. I mean, that's what Shroud's known for. He was a competitive FPS player. Plays multiplayer games. He plays Battle Royale now. A lot of people started drawing conclusions to Battle Royale. I don't think Respawn's going to do a Battle Royale. I don't, as much as I like the idea of that. I made the video talking about how that could be cool to see them dive into the fray, give us a fast-paced BR. I just don't think that's what they're going to do. So, again, that's literally as far as my speculation can go. It's funny because it's a question people want me to answer, and maybe they just want me to say, like, yes or no in the comment section, but it seems like people want me to talk about it. And I've had people say you should talk about this in a video, but there's nothing I can say. It's really hard to speculate on nothing. You know, it's hard to speculate on a game that we call Titanfall 3 that could very much release and not even be called Titanfall 3, even if it is the next Titanfall. That just works better in a YouTube title, right? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I think everyone thinks that individuals like myself and Derek, Iniquity, you know, we get sent like little envelopes that are delivered by a man on a unicycle who wears a jacket that says top secret, and we open the envelope and it just like inserts the information into our brains and then seals it off a moment later so we don't actually remember it, you know, and we're supposed to like tap in there and tell them, and then the envelope, you know, says it's going to explode in 30 seconds or something like that. We don't tell me anything. I'm glad they don't tell me anything. I don't want that responsibility. Just the dude who likes playing their games, right? So just clear that of your mind if you're one of those people who thinks that we know things. I don't know things. I don't know things about that anyway. You want to talk about stuff that's out that I'm playing? Sure, we can totally do that. But I just have no idea what's going on with them. I do want to say this, though. This is a piece of discussion that we can stem quickly from that. I think people need to stop getting so concerned about when Titanfall 3 happens. There's an obsession, I think, for Titanfall 3 to come out as soon as possible. People think, well, the community is still kind of there for Titanfall 2. If you don't get it out, it's going to be the death of Titanfall. And I just could not disagree more, and I think Respawn feels the same way in that they fully understand, like, we did what we could. You know, we push out, like, small changes, featured modes to Titanfall 2, but that's all we got. Our efforts are elsewhere at this point. And no, we're not just going to rush Titanfall 3 out the door just to like hold on to the last like 10, 15,000 individuals playing Titanfall 2. That's not actually like a sound argument to me for this is how Titanfall 3 stays successful at launch, is you release it as quickly as possible and hold on to whatever community is left in Titanfall 2. No, Titanfall 3 just has to be a better game that in many ways appeals to the current audience for first-person shooters right now. It needs to do more things that make sense. It probably needs to innovate a lot more within itself as a genre. It probably needs to push itself further and further away from just being a very deathmatch, get kills oriented game. It needs more hardcore, dedicated PvE, PvP, hybrid modes, which is a discussion video I'd love to do. You know, it needs to stand out. It needs to be everything Titanfall is while also being something new and fresh that attracts a new audience. Otherwise, it will just continue to have the same small audience it's had. It can't just keep being Titanfall 2. You know, so it has nothing to do with how quickly they release it. It has everything to do with the type of game they build. That goes for everything, right? You know, and even then, you could make the best possible game, and sometimes it's just not what people want right now. It's kind of how I feel about Titanfall 2. Yeah, it's got flaws, but I do think it should have done better for the most part. It's just, it's not what people want to play right now. There's a huge shift in like the meta of the consumer currently, and just plain and simple, Titanfall 2 doesn't fit into that meta. Just like arena shooters no longer fits into that meta. So that's the bigger thing for me. I don't think we should get caught up on release it as quickly as possible. Hold on to that community. It's just, we're probably all going to be at a point where we're barely playing the game, and kudos to anyone who's still rocking and rolling in Titanfall 2 before that sort of a thing happens, before we get to play Titanfall 3 or before an announcement happens. So yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. Speaking of Derek and Iniquity, what I find funny is that, you know, new people are actually honestly always finding their way to Titanfall 2. It's in small numbers, but it always shocks me the number of individuals who show up in my Titanfall videos who are like, I just picked the game up on sale yesterday. I mean, it really shows how people are still finding their way into Titanfall, and I think that's kind of cool. I don't think they're getting like the same atmosphere, the same like vibe and multiplayer that they should be getting that was there closer to launch, but I think that's cool, right? So you find these individuals who they like find Derek, then they find me, and they watch us separately, and they don't know that we know each other. They don't know how tight like the individuals within the Titanfall 2 community actually are. And so they look at me and they'll be like, do you know Iniquity? Or they see him in one of my gameplays and they're like, you played with Iniquity? Oh my god, do you know who he is? And I'm like, yeah, I know who he is. I'm like, yeah, Derek's a good friend of mine. I know Derek. And they're always like, so what do you think of Iniquity? So here's what I think of Iniquity. He recently became available worldwide. Whoop. You can find him in 6-packs, 12-packs, in cases of good old-fashioned glass bottles. And honestly, every household should just have some Iniquity lying around. He is a lifesaver in the most desperate of times. Picture this. You're an individual who likes to cook sauce. You just, for whatever reason, you're like, I like to make a good pot of sauce. I'm trying to perfect my pot of sauce. It's understandable. Cooking is it's a valuable quality to have an individual. So that day, you're cooking some sauce without your apron, which is a very risky thing. You're a risky individual. You like to take risks in life. You cook sauce in a white shirt without an apron on. And it just so happens to really elevate the risk factor. You've got a date with an individual who you are very, very interested in. You just find this person attractive in every sense of the word attractive. You know, their personality, their hair, they just got great fucking hair. You're like, man, I need to be around someone with hair that great. I just want to sit in the sun. I want to read a book, eat some pasta with this sauce with someone whose hair is that great. And unfortunately, because of the risk taker you are, you end up with red sauce on your shirt. And you're thinking, I've got 10 minutes. I've got to go meet this individual for a date. This individual with the hair and the personality of a lifetime. And I've gone and got red sauce on my shirt. Look at me, such a risk taker. I've ruined it all. The good thing is, for all the risks you take in life, you keep a fridge stocked with Iniquity. So you break out a bottle of Iniquity, you take a swig, you got some liquid courage, and I'm not talking alcohol-based liquid courage, I'm talking Iniquity-based liquid courage, and then you dab a little bit of that on your shirt, and whoop, stain is gone. It's like you never even spilled the sauce on your shirt. In fact, you're suddenly wearing a really great tuxedo, which is perfect because it's exactly the thing you needed to to go on out into your driveway, break open a bottle of Iniquity right in the concrete. You've got an Aston Martin DB9 right before you. You're going to pick up your date in that thing. It's going to be Casino Royale, and Iniquity just changed your friggin' life. That's literally all I have to say today, guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to indulge in my absurdity. If you have any questions or thoughts in regard to Titanfall 3 and its future this year, the year after it, or whenever the hell you think it's going to get announced, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.
You have been brought here for a purpose, the most important task of your lives.